The information shared on Healing from the Heart are from personal accounts and experiences intended to help shed light on possibilities of healing potentials still being researched and discovered. Any communications, considerations, or recommendations are not substitute for medical, psychological, or licensed professional help in wellness or recovery. Please seek a qualified practitioner regarding specific needs or concerns. We hope this podcast uplifts and inspires. Welcome to Healing from the Heart, a space to empower others to learn how to heal themselves with the energy of hope, light, and guidance. Host Torun Antonsen is an intuitive spiritual healer, medium, and teacher. She is certified by the Norwegian Healing Society and serves on their ethics council. In 2018, Torun founded the Healing School to help individuals develop their innate abilities and believes that everyone has the capacity to heal. Since 2014, she's contributed to several scientific studies on the effects of healing, aiming to bridge the gap between traditional wisdom and modern science. Being an advocate for combining conventional and natural medicine together with spiritual healing, Torun shares her own personal story, with recently being diagnosed and surviving pancreatic cancer in 2024. Her goal is to help others learn about options and resources within their own healing journey, with a loving support system including spiritual healing several days a week, walking in nature every day, exercising, acupuncture, herbs, vitamins, and a healthy diet. Torun became strong again. Her life's mission is to help communication between medical professionals and their clients to create more effective resources within hospitals, as well as navigating others toward health, joy, and purpose, to shine light on what's needed most when she was healing herself. Now, here is your host of Healing from the Heart, Torun Antonsen.
Welcome everyone to Healing from the Heart. I'm your host, Torun Antonsen, and this is a safe and gentle space where we can share hope and healing together. And I believe that everyone has the ability to heal. And I'm so grateful you are here with me today. I'm just a channel for the healing intelligence, working from my heart. And so welcome to my world, and let us begin. We have a very special guest with us today, and his name is Richard Stuttle, and he's an artist, author, healer, medium, and a teacher. The first time I saw him was at Artifinder College in UK, a very famous spiritual school. So welcome, Richard.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Torun. It's wonderful to be here.
It's an honor to have you here today. And I was, first time I saw you, I was thinking I haven't seen that man before. And I was at Artifinder College in November. And I didn't think more about that. But then suddenly I saw a picture of you on the wall along side by side from the other teachers. And I was curious about what you were working with. I felt it was my spirit guides that made me aware of you. And I looked into your website, and it was amazing because you do a lot of things that I'm very interested in. You combine your artwork and your mediumship and healing, and you do psychic art and much more. And you just told me earlier today that your father, Alan Stuttle, was a teacher at the Art of Finley College. So I'm curious about your background. When did you start to get interested in spiritual work, and was it normal for you to see or hear people from the other side? Or can you tell us a little about your background?
I certainly can. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I started many years ago. Someone very close to me passed to the spirit world, my sister, back in 2002. And that really opened the question in my mind as what happens? Where do we go? What happens after we've passed on from this life? Where are we before we come into this reality? So my mind started working, and I started to look at all these different directions of what is that sensitivity? What part of me is of this world? What part of me is of the unseen world? So that journey started to unfold back in 2002. And I started to look at mediumship. I started to look at life after death. Well, what is energy? How do I feel? And of course, the healing side that comes around that as well was very interesting, because I was going through personal trauma. I was going through grief, the loss of a sibling, the loss of somebody who was very close to me. So all of these things started to come up within my system. But I was very privileged that my father, my mother, they were very sensitive to this type of work and this level of understanding of nothing was out of the norm. It was okay to share your feelings. It was okay to feel this way. So I started that journey and went off traveling. I got involved with art and creativity a lot more. And it really took me down a route of expression, self-expression, and looking at what energy was, that tangibility that you could see through art and creativity, and how that could reflect back on that feeling of what I was going through and the information that was coming up at that time.
Where were you when you lost your sister?
Where was I? I was
How,
in
how
the
old? How old
how
were you?
old was I? I was 24. And so I was at that I was in the French Alps at the time, and I got a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning. My sister was in Australia. She was traveling on a gap year, and it was she was having the time of her life. And unfortunately, she found herself in the wrong place at the wrong time, and her life was taken. So she came back to the UK, her body came back, and our life was changed forever.
Yes. And I think even when your dad had this ability to be a medium, when we lost someone, it doesn't help. It helped to understand more about it, but we want them here with us. And in 2023, my daughter, she was 18 years old. She had a stroke. I still have her with me, but it was very close that she was going to the other side. And for me, it didn't help being a medium and a healer, because the only thing I wanted was to have her with me here in the physical world. So it must have been so hard. And I know that when you go through things like that, you open up very much for other dimensions. And do you feel you have contact with your sister today?
Well, I could feel her presence, and this was really what opened that journey, because I knew what her energy was like when she walked in the room when she was here. I could feel that energy, and after she passed away, I could still feel that same energy. I was back in our family home, and it was just me in the home at certain times, and I could still feel that presence of her, that feeling of her that I recognized very strongly. And that feeling is still gone through the years. It's gone on that journey with me. I recognize the energy of her. And yeah, as you say, it brings comfort on a level that we go, oh, well, actually, there's a presence there that I know and I understand, and a comfort that that gives. But it doesn't help that reality that we live in, that Mother Earth that we're born onto, to say, well, actually, I want her physically here. I want to be able to talk to her face to face. I want to be able to, as you say rightly, to hug her, to have that physical life, that time shared within this space. And it's heartbreaking. It's something that I feel, even though we have a belief system, even though we're sensitive to the energy and the energy of the unseen world, it is something that's so difficult to let go of the physicality, to really understand, well, how can we get over that? How can we deal with that grief and trauma? And it's taken a long time, and it's almost an impossible journey.
When I had pancreatic cancer in 2024, the doctors told me I was going to die. And it was so strange because I have believed in the other side since I was a child. I have seen spirits and everything. But when they told me I was going to die, I started to doubt everything I knew, everything I have been teaching my students, and everything went in a way black until some of my spiritual friends helped me to turn the light and hope on again. But have you had something similar that you have been doubting
Yeah,
sometimes?
of course. It's I mean, you go through it in the years or over the years. I got very ill a few years ago, and that was, you know, again, there's something there that you go, well, I'm realizing my own mortality. I'm realizing there's a part of me that for some reason doesn't fear or doesn't believe in mortality, and that for me is that part that knows we are eternal, that knows we go on beyond this reality, and that's great. But there is a part that is very real. I live in this body, in this space, and I have this experience. And
Yes.
it's a very grounded experience. It's a very connected with nature. And it's very much that physicality that I am very comfortable in and I enjoy immensely. So I don't want to lose that. I want to maximize that experience. But as you say rightly, that as soon as there's something that comes into your life that sheds a light on your own mortality, then you have that unbelievable feeling of, oh yes, hang on, it's not eternal. There's a part of me that will cease and will end, even if that is just the death of the body or the death of other parts of me. Well, it's still letting go and a grieving process. Even if I'm grieving before the event, I still need to take part in that grieving process to realize my own mortality.
Yeah. And now I believe you are in a very happy place. And because last year you got a beautiful daughter.
Yes. Absolutely wonderful. Such a magical experience. Something that, to be honest, I thought might have passed me by in my lifetime. So I'm incredibly blessed to have a beautiful daughter who's now 3 months old, and it is just magic. The connection that you feel, not just with my daughter but with my partner as well, is amazing.
Taking her with you to Arthur Findlay College.
Well, we went back to we live in Holland at the moment, and we went back to the UK to see family at the beginning of January this year. And when we were there, we called in at the college. Everybody wanted to meet Lyra, and we went to see everybody, and it was incredible. It was because my father had taught there for 30 years and was somebody who had very much pioneered that journey through spirit art. He trained under Coral Polsch, who was a fantastic psychic artist. So he did 30 years of teaching at the college, and now it's my turn to take that over and to see what I can do in the next 30 years. So a huge responsibility, I'd say, for one, but also an opportunity to see how spirit art or inspired art or psychic art can evolve and how we can use it in the modern world. But the nice thing was that the large lounge, which is a fantastic room at the college, is somewhere that he taught one of his favorite rooms. It's a room I love to be in, and I took Lyra into that room. So it was an opportunity to just sit in that energy and appreciate there's 3 generations
That's
that
amazing.
are going to be at the college, which is wonderful. I'd never tell her what to do in her life, but I do hope that she gets to experience the college in her own way.
I think she will. And how long have you been a teacher at the college?
I've been there a few years as a specialist tutor, so I'm on the process now of becoming a full tutor and working there on various courses. So it's a great privilege to teach there and to have the opportunity to work with some world-class and fabulous tutors.
That's amazing. And I was wondering if you can tell us a little how you use both the art and your psychic gifts. How do you do that? Do you do that in readings, mediumship sessions, healing sessions? How do you do that? And how did it start?
All of the above.
Yeah. Can you share a little about that? Or do you want to show us the way you work, or what's best for you?
Wonderful. Thank you. A great question. And well, we can look at mediumship. Let's look at mediumship to start off with. Well, why I originally got interested in spirit art was, yes, because my father, but I was looking for evidence of life continuous. I was looking for irrefutable proof that life carried on. And I came across a gentleman called Frank Lear. And he was such a wonderful psychic artist, but I looked at the drawings that were matched to photographs of people who were in the spirit world. And I thought, how is this possible that somebody that you don't know, you can give information about that person who's passed away, you can draw a picture that looks like them, and you can give the feeling and the energy of that person as if they were here in the room with us. And my mind was blown. My mind just couldn't understand how that was possible. So that's why I really enjoy the spirit art, because you're bringing forward that evidence in a visual format. So
Yes.
Matched with the mediumship, I think it's just such a wonderful thing. And the saying that, well, what we can do in art, a picture paints 1,000 words. And the energy on the paper, the color, the feeling of that is something that I don't have to say anything sometimes. The drawing can say it all. Or the things I can just put something in that means something or means so much to somebody, and I don't have to get involved. I don't have to tell them, because they just know. And that's such a wonderful way that we can match that with the mediumship, the heartfelt connection, and ultimately the healing that can happen. But I find that art and creativity can give a tangibility to the energy of the unseen, that energy that we feel, but sometimes we can disregard.
Yes, and I remember the first time I visited the college, it was in 2008, and I saw some pictures that was drawn. It was a lady, Coral Page. She was a medium. Have you heard about her?
Coral Polsch, yes.
Yeah, and then I started to become very interested in psychic art. I think it was amazing that it was possible to get a picture from the other side. And I started to take some classes with psychic art. It's many years ago, and I didn't dare to use it in my office with my clients. I was afraid they wouldn't recognize them. But I really feel drawn back into try to do that again, because I like proof of spirit. And, you know, you can't get a better proof than a drawing of the person. And I had a private session with you online. And
Yes.
in the reading you had for me, you draw my mom. And I have showed it to the whole family, and they all recognize her. And you did it so quickly, 2 minutes or something, but we can recognize her. So it was so lovely that you brought her in. Do you usually do that in a session like that?
So
When you
it works in.
when you have a private session, do you usually mix the art with the reading?
I always draw.
Always draw.
So I'm working with the art and the energy. But with you or working with anybody on a one-to-one, it's bringing forward not what I want or potentially what they want. It's working in the energy of the moment. So every drawing is unique. So what I say is we start with a blank piece of paper and we go on the journey together. Sometimes that manifests as a portrait, and sometimes we're doing mediumship. Other times we're looking at energetic alignment. Sometimes we're just looking at that healing aspect, or we're looking at unfolding their journey through that assessment process. And what art can do in that sense is add on to those steps to allow that journey just to unfold really naturally. And what I like to do within the sessions is just to make sure that we're on the journey together. And art can add a few points with the different colors, the different shapes, forms, or images, faces, that can really add a tangibility to the words that we're speaking and to the energy that we're feeling. So every session is unique. Sometimes we're working mediumistically, sometimes we're working energetically, sometimes we're just working with that underpinning vibration of healing. It depends what the spirit world and the energy of the unseen world really wants to bring forward at that time.
How do you feel the spirit? Do you see it? Do you hear them? What's your strongest senses?
So it's very different in every contact. I think what I've tried to do, or the way that I've tried to work, is to be across the board with all of that, in the sense that I've tried to expand the clairvoyance, the clairsentience, that claircognizance, that knowing, that feeling, and just be open to whatever the communicator or the recipient needs at that time. So the same with if I talk to somebody in this world, and whether I'm working with them on a personal and physical level, I would connect with them in a unique way. The same way that I connect with a spirit communicator. Some people come through, they give me the flash of the image in the mind. They're a very logical, organized person. They give me the information, and we can do it. Other people aren't bothered about that. They want the different things. They want what they were interested in. But what I would say around that is connect with the spirit of somebody. That will give you that heartfelt connection, and then to unfold the evidence around that, unfold the drawing. So some spirit communicators are very patient. They sit there very nicely and allow the drawing. Some people are very demanding, as they are in this life. And it's just about working with that lovely energy to say, and I get told off if I do things wrong, if the eyes are not right or they're the wrong color. A technique that I use when teaching the spirit art is using the face to map the mediumship. So when you're drawing the eyes of somebody, you're talking about, well, what was their outlook on life? What did, you know, if you looked into somebody's eyes, what would they be telling you? When you're drawing the mouth, well, what's their philosophy? What kind of music did they like? The smells, well, where was their favorite scent in the garden? What did they smell when they walked past the kitchen? We can use the face to map the mediumship. Sensitivity is a way that can just come forward. But what I try to work with is that feeling of the spirit communicator, or that feeling to connect with the energy of the moment and just see how things unfold naturally.
Do you see the comments? Do you see the comments on your
I see some comments coming up, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's many comments for you. And someone wants to have a session with you, but do you have, is it possible for you to show us a little about how you draw, or is it something you can share with us? I see you have the paper
I've
behind
always
you.
got paper.
Yeah.
I've always got paper, of course. So let's just start. What I would say, and certainly for people who are talking about wanting to connect with somebody or wanting to look down, and I know we're talking here about healing from the heart. We're talking about healing within ourselves, how we do that, what's coming into our system. And the first thing to start off with all of that is to recognize where you are within that space. So if I draw a red circle and I draw a circle on the paper, what does red mean?
It can mean so much, and I think it's different from a person to a person. And for me, it's passion, power, love.
Exactly that. But it's very subjective to the moment, isn't it? So, and
Yeah.
as you say rightly, it can mean many different things. So what we start with in this space is, well, what does it mean for me? And if I'm walking on the beach with somebody I love, it means passion. It means love. It means, oh, that feeling that I can feel through my system. Well, I can feel that and I can experience. And now my conscious mind can understand it better. It can understand that tangibility around that feeling because I've given it a color. So if I say to you now, oh, the feeling of love is red, you've got a visual image and you've got that sensation of the energy, that feeling of it. Where do you feel it? If I'm driving in my car, what does red mean?
What did you say?
If I'm driving in the car, what does red mean?
If you're driving in your car, speed maybe?
Oh, well, hopefully it means stop. A red light, hopefully.
Okay, yeah, you mean the light. Yeah.
Stop like that, then that's really
because
nice.
I feel red is also for speeding up.
It's
but I see in the comment they said red is my favorite color. It's for grounding. Someone said golden. So yeah, and I said stop. It means stop. I wasn't thinking about that.
The point I'm making is it's very subjective to the moment. And so the first part of all of this work is to recognize what it means for me. So what does red mean for me? And then what does it mean for you as the person I'm working with? So ultimately what I've got there is a differentiator between me and you.
Yeah.
So I can work in that way. So I've got what red means, I've got what it means for me, and I've got what it means for you.
Yes.
So I've got two different choices there with the red. I know the feeling of me and I know the feeling of you. If we're connecting with the spirit world, what are we talking about? Well, I'm connecting to what does red mean for the spirit communicator. So I've used one color and I've got three different directions within that color, three different ways to start to understand and unfold that feeling within that spirit communicator. I've also got, what does red mean for the energy of now? What does it mean for this grounded space that we're working within? What does it mean for our reality, for Mother Earth? So straight away, what I've got is what it means for me as the practitioner, what it means for the recipient, what it means for the spirit communicator, and what it means within the energy of now. So I've got this differentiator to start to say, and oh yes, I know where I am, I know where you are, and I feel the energy of the spirit world. So these kind of things can help us to start to really understand the feeling of us. When we start to talk about healing, well, this is where the healing can really come forward, because I know what red means for me. I know what's in my system. And anything that isn't me, I know does not belong to me. It's not part of my system. Does that make sense?
Yes, you explain very well.
You're very kind. You're very kind. So we can start to add different colors, and we can start to play with this. And I know now, as I start to draw, well, I can just start to draw and have a bit of fun. And I know that now, as we start to draw, that there's a face starting to come forward within this color, within this space, that we can start to unfold a little bit of this information, this evidence, this feeling of somebody who wants to step forward now and who wants to come forward into this reality. And I know we're using a bit of color here. I know there's bright colors, but I know that we can start to work within the energy of this communicator who wants to come forward. So I can start to draw, and I can start to bring forward, as we did and we do within the private sessions, the feeling of somebody who wants to come forward to be known.
That's amazing.
You see where we're going? So what we're doing here, I can start to use this image. And I can start to bring forward this gentleman. The color of blue means something for him. It means philosophy, it means the freedom of mind. We can start to work in that energy. I'm talking about the collar here. He's drawing his shirts, and what he's talking about is this blue shirt that he wears. So I know that he's a hard worker. I know that there's a feeling of that that's starting to come forward. And we can start to work within this. There's an energy there, and there's a love. We started with the color of red. Well, what does red mean for this gentleman? Well, it means this sense and this feeling of energy, this passion that he had within this world, the passion that he follows him into the spirit world. So we can start to work in that way. So we're not looking for necessarily a real lightness in the physicality, because we've got creativity. So what we're looking for is the color and the energy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And we can start to work with this gentleman, and I know that he's stepping in very, very strongly now, and he has a bit of fun, because he would have been somebody that would have liked to really come forward and have a bit of fun in life. And this is where he's coming forward now. So very quickly, we can start to get a bit of a portrait together. And we can start to have a bit of fun on the camera.
I think it's so fascinating how fast you can draw it, the person. I think some of you students are here today. They say they love Richard. Great teacher, so talented.
That's
and
very,
authentic.
very kind of them. So we can start to work in that way, and we've started with a bit of a picture and a bit of fun. We can start to blend in this feeling of this person now.
So you use the color to give you information.
Well, it's around that, isn't it? That we started with this red, we started with this balance. What he seems to be talking about now is the energy. So he can start to give me that feeling. Well, what did he like? Well, he's talking about the sunsets. He's talking about this going out into nature, into the hills, into the natural world. And this is something that's quite interesting for him, because I know that there's reflection. I know that he would have been near water. I know that that would have been important to him. So you can see we can start to change the portrait a little bit. And we're using, as I said before, a nice thing to do is to use the face to map the mediumship. So he's talking now very much about this sense of feeling, this sense of freedom. He's got the blue in the hair. I've got the red here and the blue in the cheeks. So there's something there that he loved colour. He was a very energetic man. I know that he would have liked to drink as well, because he's got the red nose. I'm smelling the whiskey as well. So I know that he would have liked a glass of whiskey, which is really nice and a bit of fun. He's talking about the sunsets as well. So I know that that time of day, the sun's setting, and he's talking about sun setting in his life as well. So that's quite interesting and a nice way to go with it. So I'm using the different aspects of the face. He had very much bright eyes in that sense. When I talk about the mouth, he's got a little knowing smile and a little smirk. So I know he had a good sense of humor. He was a cheeky character. So we can use the face to give us information, and we can give a visual representation to that.
Yes, so you have his personality.
Yeah, we can get his personality through there, and we can have a little bit of fun with him at the same time. Yeah.
Do you have a feeling who he's for?
Who he's for?
Who is he coming to visit?
As I'm working with him, I feel that he's father, and I feel that father is important. He's given me the month of at the end of June, beginning of July, and I know that's when he passed to the spirit world. And I get this feeling that he was in his late 60s when he passed to the spirit. So I don't know specifically, but if somebody can recognize that information, that would be nice. There's a very much a caricature of him. And it's very much that feeling of him.
And please comment in the chat if you recognize this man.
Yeah, please do, because he's fun. He's full of energy. The way that he's making me draw is the way that he's making me draw.
Christy Wilson, she says, I think he's with me. And who
wonderful.
is he for you, Christy? Who is he? I feel so much energy when you're doing this. It's so much energy.
It's different in every drawing, but there's such a lovely sense with him.
Yes.
Which is such a nice thing. He's a very vibrant character. So every portrait is different, and this is how he can work there. Christy, I can see your name that's just come up there, and I know that you've put the heart on there. So would I be right in saying that we've got Father here in the spirit, and everything I've said that so far is correct with that? And I feel that there's an anniversary for you around April as well. So that's coming up in a few months, that he would be present and he would have liked to be part of that. And I feel that very strongly with
It's a little delay in the chat, so Christy, we are waiting for you.
Well, it's just nice for somebody who'd like to know.
This is awesome. Really, really. I love this. And I feel so much energy when you're working with this man. It's just make me feel so happy. Christy, she said, oh my, yes. So everything is correct, Christy.
Oh, that's wonderful. So it's a nice way to start to work.
Lucky Christy. This is your lucky day.
Well, there's something there with the energy of the spirit, but there'll be something with the teaching element with this gentleman as well. Because what I want to know and what I want to talk about with this gentleman, he came in on that initial energy of teaching, of talking about teaching. So I know that there's something there. And as I say that, I get the feeling with that teaching element of him. So I know there would have been times reading books, and I can see with him that there's this lovely stack of books as well that is very important to him. So I know that there would be books that are there left from him. And what I'm talking about with him is this lovely feeling of passing on knowledge to the next generation. Does that make sense, Christy?
She says he is spot on.
There's other family members as well, and I feel that there's a dog as well. He's showing me walking into the hills and going out for walks and the sunset walks. This is something he would have done with you as well, and I feel that that's very strongly with him.
Do you understand the dog with this man, Christy?
So a very interesting example that we can start to work with the portrait and the art and a nice bit. Yeah, he always keep learning, and that's the what this gentleman's coming forward. That's why he came in on that lovely energy of understanding, that feeling of where we are, that feeling of us here and now, and that healing journey as we're talking about her, and that healing from the heart. This is something that he came in on the energy of red, because it was very much the passion he had for life, the passion he had for learning and for teaching. I could keep going all day with that, but we'll. So it's an interesting way. Thank you for speaking up about this gentleman, because it's so important that these people come forward, and they make a lot of effort to come from the spirit and that feeling. And we make a lot of effort to connect with them, and it's something to say, well, life is continuous, and to go back to that point, well, life is continuous. There's something that goes beyond this reality, where we step back to the feeling of us. Well, this is the mirror, isn't it? This is the experience and the earthly experience of that divine self.
Yes, I just love this. And I love that you also bring in animals, like the dog, because I think so many of sensitive people who are watching this, they love animals. And it's so nice to understand that the animals also are on the other side. Do you like animals, Richard?
I love animals, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want too many, but I do love them. I love seeing animals in nature. Is a real passion.
Yes.
I love the feeling of nature, and if we come back to that feeling of healing, well, healing is around stepping back into nature, isn't it? That healing within the physicality, that physical world, and I know that you experienced that in a way. But that's
Yes.
really where that healing journey starts for me as well. It starts with that grounded experience. And I hope when we're working with Christy, we're working with that. Well, what we're actually working with is that grounded experience of healing, bringing that energy back in to this physical reality.
What I really love about the animals is that they are here and now. They are not in the future. So it was so healing for me to be with animals every day when I was sick, and I still are with animals every day. But when I was sick, it was so healing just to touch the horses, because they have a heart rate that is 5 times stronger than humans. So it's amazing to be in nature and be with animals, and I still do that every day. But the time goes so quickly. I think many of them are wondering how they can reach you, and maybe you have some online courses or courses when they can meet in person.
Yes, very much so, very much so. And thank you for asking. But yeah, what you're talking about with healing is so important, to be in the present moment, not to be in a projected future of the mind or living in a paradigm of the past. I feel that you're spot on with what you're talking about there. Yeah, I have in-person events. I'm traveling around Europe this summer, with translators doing in different countries. So working in France, working in Belgium, in Holland, in Germany, in Italy, in Austria. So there's some lovely events that are coming up there on my website on the events page, online, so you can join from home. So there's a Zoom journey, which is quite interesting. So if we can look at the menu at the top, there's a 6-part Zoom journey where it says there at the top, just around that journey of looking on the menu. If we just go there, Kelly, to the menu, you can see there an online journey for 2026. This is something, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can do it from home. We've had the first session of that. There's another 5 sessions coming up, which is just around going at these different aspects. So looking at the art of energy, looking at that self-healing, authenticity, balance and flow, the spirit art, and then that, what's happening within the energetics of the world today. So I've really thought very deeply about this journey and about how we can help people to really get that grounded experience of this reality, working with their sensitivity, working with the spirit world and their creativity. So it's a lovely opportunity there. I'm doing some things online with the Arthur Findlay College as well, and I would certainly recommend anybody to go to the Arthur Findlay College for an experience. Whether I'm there or not, it doesn't matter.
I love that place. Everyone should go there.
The energy is just out of this world, and the tutors are just fabulous. So I would certainly recommend that. Another in-person event that I've got in June, which is at the Harry Edwards Healing Sanctuary, which is a place that I've been involved with for many years. I did the 2-year healing course there 4, 5, 6 years ago now, and then became a trustee. So I sat on the board of trustees for a few years, which was great. There it is. It's that one there. So we're doing a week retreat. A friend of mine is coming over from Costa Rica for that. And she works very much with the somatic healing, that, as we were talking earlier, that grounded approach to healing, the bottom-up approach, the trauma stored within our body. It's about recognizing the energy within that and allowing that to release. So we're working very much on a bottom-up somatic out approach, but then I'll be working on the energetics, the paradigms of belief, and that top-down approach, which is understanding how creativity can unlock our belief systems, the feeling of us, and that trauma that's come through our reality. So very interesting, and I'm very excited about that one. But anywhere I am, I'm so privileged to be able to do this work. It's a real honor for me to work with the spirit and to just work with people. That's my passion, and anything with creativity and art is such a wonderful opportunity. So
Do you think this is for everyone?
yeah, I think art is for everyone. Yeah.
So everyone can do it.
I mean, everybody uses art, even whether they know it or not, because we all choose what we wear each morning. We all choose what we eat. We all choose what colors we want to have in our lives, what colors we have in our rooms at home. So we're working with creativity, we're working with art, we're working with all these different things, and it's about unlocking that. And as I said, a really important part of art is it adds a tangibility to the energy that you experience. So we're all creative people. You don't need to draw faces, you don't need to draw portraits, but you can get messy with color. You can use pastels, and you can see where that journey of color can take you, because it's something that I find I'm not good at meditating. I'm really not. If I could sit for 3 hours with my legs crossed under a tree, I would, but I can't. But what I can do is I can sit behind an easel for 3 or 4 or 6 hours, and I can lose myself in art, creativity, and color. And that's, to me, where when we talked initially, Torrin, about, well, how did I come to terms with the loss of my sister? How do you deal with trauma and that internal journey of self-development? Well, art was a very integral role for that. Art was so important for me to be able to recognize these feelings and go on that journey. If I use something and I use symbology, I've given you a fixed point in your mind that then that's a space that you go, oh, I recognize that fixed point. If I want you to go on a journey without the friction of the conscious mind, well, then I can talk you through color. So I can say, oh, well, let's start off with a red. How do you feel? Well, if I add a bit of yellow to that, it becomes orange. If I add white to that, it becomes a lighter orange. If I take away the orange, it becomes white. I've taken you on a journey through color with least amount of friction for the conscious mind. And this is what we're talking about with healing.
I just want to start drawing when I'm listening to you. And I think if people want to join your online course, what do they need? They need paper and soft pastels, or?
Yes, exactly that. Yeah, just a piece of paper, some colored pencils, some pastels. And we do it, we work online. There's an opportunity to work with each other, and we have a lovely community space online, which is so important, because people can feel that experience and that energy. And this is the wonderful thing about the online technology today, certainly with Zoom and things like that. It's wonderful, because it says to me, well, it doesn't matter if you're in another country, I can still feel that same energy. I can still feel that connection and that tangibility of you, your presence. So where are we within that space? Energy is perfect. Energy is something that doesn't know distance. It doesn't know this limitation that we see within the conscious mind.
Nice to have you teaching a course in Norway. So maybe that's something you can think about.
I would love to. Thank you very much. I would be honored.
And especially healing with colors. Yes.
It's something that's really, it's a passion. You work with the healing. It's, for me, it's the highest form of service that we can work with.
Yeah, I love healing. Healing is really my favorite, but I love doing readings and mediumship too. But healing is really the greatest thing of all, I think. And what I learned when I was sick, it was how important it was to have self-love. to be your own healer. The power of self-love was really strong. And I had to be sick before I understood that. And I hope everyone else will understand it without getting sick first. Because it's so important to have self-love. That's really self-healing.
I think you're 100% correct. It's, you know, we are more than enough. And sometimes we're told within this life that we're not enough. And to me, that is not true. We are the power, we are the light, we are the energy, and we are more than enough. We power ourselves. And it's only when we don't believe that, or we live within this limited belief system, that we look externally for that energy to power us, when we are the power source, we are the energy.
Yes, and I think when we go through tough or rough things like you have been through and I have been through, illness, it's a gift in that too, because it opened up for so much more understanding. So, and I'm so grateful that you have joined us today, Richard. And I'm so grateful for that you did do this drawing live today. And I think Christy was so happy for this. So thank you so much. And I'm sure we will ask you to join us on this podcast again, because I could speak with you for many hours. And it's been so great to have you here, Richard. So thank you so much.
It's my privilege and pleasure. Thank you for the invitation. If Christy wants to email me or message me, I can post her the drawing if she'd like it.
Yes.
So I can do some more work with her. So I would be honored,
yes.
and it's a privilege to speak with you again, and lovely to see you. Thank you ever so much for the invitation.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us today. And may you walk with peace, love, and trust in your own light. So keep shining and keep healing. And we see you soon. Bye.